Hi, everyone. My name's Neha Madeira. I'm a city and politics reporter at the Texan. I'm going to be interviewing Ariana Arredondo today. Hello. Could you tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do for the Texan?
I'm Ariana Arredondo. I am the Life and Arts editor and a co-internal relations director for diversity and inclusion. With Life and Arts, I'm the head of the department, so I oversee the pitch meetings and all edits during production, and as well as just oversee what content we're putting out every day. And then for internal relations, I'm with Ariba Amr, and we just kind of look over different things within diversity and inclusion. So specifically, my initiatives include the newsletter, the mentorship program, and I'm also working as part of the TSM committee on a diversity and inclusion handbook and a diversity and inclusion hiring guide. I did high school journalism. I was in yearbook and I was in the newspaper. So my high school journalism teacher would always tell us, as soon as you get to college, it doesn't matter, you just need to make sure that you join the college newspaper. That is really what's going to be important for you to be a professional journalist. So as soon as I got to campus, I looked up the application for general staff, and I applied as soon as I got it. And I was a Life and Arts general reporter and a newsletter general reporter my first semester, and I just fell in love with the basement. I chose Life and Arts when I was a freshman, when I was first semester freshman, because I honestly just had more fun writing those kinds of feature stories. I was in yearbook, so that's essentially all you do. You write feature stories. Mm-hmm. And I found myself kind of leaning towards that sort of writing, that sort of reporting. And when I did my first story for Life and Arts, my tryout story was on a tattoo shop. I did a feature on a tattooer, and I just really enjoyed doing it. And then from there, my editors at the time really kind of pushed me and encouraged me to write about the communities that I was interested in. I wrote about Muslim women and their hijabis. I wrote about Latinx community and that goes. They really let me write about a lot of really interesting things. And I didn't super realize at the time that it was things that weren't necessarily super covered in the newsroom. And then once I kind of noticed that, I kind of continued to write those kinds of stories. And in this past summer, I was able to write about DACA students and first gen students. It's just kind of stuff that I'm really passionate about. I'm from El Paso, Texas, so I went to a very predominantly Latinx high school. There was a lot of people who looked like me around me, and so I never really knew much about the idea of needing more diversity in newsrooms. And then I got to UT, and I remember I was at orientation, and there was a presentation about diversity and inclusion and the current board. And I remember they were talking about that, and I was like, wow, that makes sense. That really is important. I had noticed that at UT, there weren't really other people who I could relate to. And there were very few people from my hometown that came to UT. That's kind of where I started gaining an interest. I got to talk to a lot of the members of the diversity inclusion board and kind of see the work that they had been doing in the past year or so. And I wanted to stop talking about diversity and inclusion issues and actually be a part of the change for the Texan. So when it comes to joining the Texan, I think if you have even the slightest interest in journalism, that you should do it, or in art or in social media, you should apply to Texan. There's a lot of different departments, right? So almost anyone I think could find their place here. Sometimes it takes a little bit of exploring, but I think there's a place for everyone at the Texan. Mm-hmm. I've even applied for internships and scholarships, and I'm like, oh, this is a stretch, but might as well apply. And you know what, even if you don't get it, you wrote out that response, and maybe you can use that response for a different application one day. There's no harm in applying. Obviously, because of the Texan and because of just the way the world is right now, I wasn't able to work this semester. I had a job at the beginning of the semester, but then I was laid off because of COVID reasons. And then just with my school schedule and my two roles at the Texan, there's literally no hours in the day for me to work. It only worked at my other employer because they were super understanding and gave me very, very, very specific hours that worked for my couple hours I was free. So I wasn't able to work this semester. So that's scholarship's really, really helpful for me to be able to save up money for rent and tuition for next semester, because I was able to work over the summer, so that helped out a lot. Obviously, scholarship opportunities are so important for just all students, and specifically student journalism, because of the way that student journalism is built and the way journalism is built. It's not necessarily a very profitable career path, and especially as students, when we have like rent expenses and tuition expenses, scholarships like these are like super important and necessary. And especially when it comes from like friends of the Texan, like other journalists, it kind of like feels nice. It feels cool to know that like these are people who have like gotten a ton of accomplishments and have like made it, and like now are able to turn around and give back. And it just kind of gives hope of like, you know what, like maybe one day like I'll have like the credentials and the experience and the portfolios that they have, and I'll hopefully be able to give back as well.